them a little bit of a shake out. They're not too cold. Oh, come in. Hello. I know you're definitely in the right place. Come on in. Sorry, I haven't got my coat and everything on today. It's a little bit warmer today, isn't it? It is. When you're ready, just come on over. Okay? I love your top. It's lovely. Just get these. Yeah, that's fine just now. Well, hello. Lovely to meet you. Give you a little handshake. How are you? Oh, a little bit nervous. There's no need to be nervous. No, have you ever been to a dermatologist or any sort of facial appointment before? No problem at all. Today, it's just going to be nice and relaxed. Absolutely. Now, I know that you mentioned you just wanted to know a little bit more about what was going on in terms of you had some sensitivities, some areas like some spots, things like that. Looking at you right now though, you've got a lovely face, if you don't mind me saying so. No, you have, I promise. I'm not just paid to say that. You really do. So today is just going to be nice and simple. What we'll start by doing is just gently cleansing the face. I like to know that I'm working with a nice clean palette, as it were, and then I'll go in, just have a general little feel. I'll make a few notes, and then we can go from there. Does that sound okay? Perfect. Just going to ease you in nice and gently. Absolutely. Now, do you have a sensitivity to scents at all, or no? Would you mind if I sprayed a little bit of perfume? Is that okay? It just, as this room's been closed up overnight, it's got a little bit musty, I feel. I think it's the warmth. Is that okay? I actually love this one. It's my personal perfume from Dossier. Oh, you haven't heard of them? Oh my goodness, this one is their Spicy Orchid. I always want to say orchard. The Spicy Orchid. Obviously, orchid, beautiful flowers. And this is, oh my goodness, the most gorgeous scent. Would you actually like to try? Yeah, let me spray a little bit. Just give it a little rub. I'm just going to mist it a little bit around the room, actually. A little bit on me. Oh. It's gorgeous. I think it's got a little note in there of ylang ylang. It's a tricky one to say, but this is so gorgeous. So Dossier do hundreds of scents, so they actually do some designer impressions. So some of your most loved, super expensive designer fragrances, they actually have done their own impressions of, so you can check that out on their website. And all their perfumes are produced in the region of, I believe it's Grasse or Grasse, terrible at French pronunciation, but in a region of France, which is the perfume place. You need to make perfume. It's the best place in the world. And they produce some incredible scents, not only some designer impressions, but also hundreds of their own original creations. And there's loads of unisex scents, men, women, whatever you like, there is something for you, and at a fraction of the price. Well, they have all the notes of the sort of scent, so you can know clearly what you're getting, and then you can order it, bring it home, test it out, and even if you don't like it, you can actually send it back. Yeah, and they make perfect gifts as they come in lovely boxes. I know, it's great. Oh, the room smells so nice as well now. It just gives you a little lift, doesn't it? I particularly love that one. So good. I think it's there's another aromatic one they do that's gorgeous. It's a bit more of a masculine scent, but it's lovely. So if you want to go and explore, you can head to their website. Just head to my link in the description below and you'll get yourself an extra little 10% saving with my discount code. So go and check that out. Okay, well, now we're all nice and fresh. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gloves on. You don't have any allergies to latex or anything? Lovely. These are actually latex free. I just always like to ask if you have any sensitivities at all. Perfect. Lovely. Just obviously want to state my hands are all clean. Everything that we're using today has been disinfected, so everything will be nice and clean for your skin. Lovely. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm just going to use one of our very special facial towels. I like to keep them in this little box. You can actually use these wet or dry. I'm going to have a nice fresh one for you. And these are wonderful because I don't know if you're a fan of facial wipes at all. Yeah, they're a bit of a dermatologist no-no, but I have to say in the past, even though, I've come into this sort of career, I do love a face wipe from time to time. But I've moved over to these. So these are lovely, and then you can apply any products you want to them or just use them with some water. So what I'm going to do, because I'm not sure at the moment of any sensitivities that your skin may have, I've just got a very, very mild soap-free solution here. This is just some warm water, okay, and we're just going to wipe over the skin. Okay, so just have a look. I can see you haven't applied anything. That's lovely. Have you put anything on this morning at all, like a moisturiser or? Okay, no, that's fine. We'll speak a little bit about product use and things as well. Just a little bit of a fold over. There we go. Lovely. The lovely thing about these ones is that they are so large. So we can just do it around the neck as well. A lot of people forget to actually cleanse the neck, sort of around the back of the ears, things like that. But it's really important when you're cleansing your face to also do these areas. I know it's the little things we forget, isn't it? But let's just get all of that. Lovely. Okay, so just a little bit of sort of surface debris, as it were, coming off there, but nothing major. So nice clean face to begin with. That's wonderful. We'll just let you just air dry just for a moment, okay? And are you happy for me to just have a little feel of your face? Lovely. If at any point you'd like to stop, that's absolutely fine. Sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to having sort of someone touch your face, but all I'm going to be doing is just simply going over the face, just having a little feel, okay? And that's it. Wonderful. So I'm just going to come a little bit closer. Okay, so I'll talk you through what I'm doing as well. So I'm just beginning by feeling with my thumbs around sort of the shape of your face, really. So just around the edges. And what I'm feeling for is any signs of sort of swelling. Now with my sort of fingers, I'm just going to press very lightly. Excuse me, that was my stomach. I know, I need to get a snack, definitely. Oh, I've been so busy today. I have. I was just feeling there a little bit of dryness, A bit of dryness, that's fine. We'll talk about all your skincare things and whatever you've been experiencing. I think the warmth has got me a bit flustered today. I'd like to say it's a rare occurrence, but it's not really. There we go. You're in good hands though, don't worry. I've been doing this a very long time. So I'm just feeling around, just around the lips and the chin now. A little feel. And just sort of coming over the forehead here, just having a little feel. Nice. I'm just going to feel around the neck as well. Have you had a bit of hay fever recently, or have you experienced a cold at all? Okay. No, that's fine. Oh, I think that was you this time. We're gonna be going back and forth with our stomachs, I feel. It's fine. We'll power through. Okay. We'll treat ourselves to something nice after this. I think so. I think there's some nice snacks actually out in reception. There are these really yummy fruity chocolatey bars. They're really yum. I'm trying to resist, but they're really good. Okay, so the good news is that I can't feel any sort of signs of swelling. The major thing I notice, I say major, it's really minor, is some dryness. Now, you do have a little sort of bit of sort of spots and things. I was going to say it's a little patch of acne, but I wouldn't really define it as acne, to be honest. You've just got some individual spots, just a few, nothing major. The reason I asked if you had a cold or experiencing hay fever is there's just a little bit of puffiness in the face. Typically when your lymph nodes swell, they're fighting off infection. They normally come up sort of around the neck and underneath here when you're experiencing a cold or you're feeling a bit run down, and that can happen during the change of season in particular, and that can cause a build-up of fluid, which then causes the puffiness. So that's why people use things like the facial rollers, the gua shas as well, to help with the lymphatic drainage. Yeah, so if you've been experiencing a little bit of puffiness, that'll be the reason. It typically goes down by itself, but if you want to help, you can do little sort of gentle exercises, just encourage the drainage. Okay? Lovely. Now, I've noticed a couple of bits of pigmentation here. I'm looking at the rest of your skin. I can see you've got a couple of patches just there, but aside from the little bit of dryness, there's no major signs of sort of lots of sun damage. Do you use a good SPF when you go in the sun? Good. You always want to make sure that you're looking for a broad spectrum. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with me today. A broad spectrum SPF, so one that does UVA and UVB. You'll also get some ones that do sort of ultra red, blue, all these different light protection ones. But if you can just get a nice sort of minimum 30 SPF that covers UVA and UVB rays, that'd be good. Lovely. Okay, so I'm just going to put my gloves up for a moment, and I'm just going to make a couple of notes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a face map, okay? And this will help explain, particularly with some of the spots, what's going on. All right. So let's grab our pen. Oh, where did I put my pen? Oh, my pen's over here. Here we go. Okay. Honestly, I put things down in this office and I forget where I put them. Okay, so let's make a couple of notes. So just confirm your date of birth for me. Lovely. The reason we ask that is obviously the skin changes with age, so good to have your date of birth. We've got all your personal details, so we'll just make some notes purely on the face. So we've noticed some mild dryness, and we've also got a small patch of mild acne. Don't want that word to worry you at all. It's just a few, we can definitely get those under control. We've got a slight swelling due to a bit of inflammation. That will go down naturally. If it doesn't, or the puffiness begins to increase, you can always come back and see me. Lovely. And we've just got a couple of bits of pigmentation. It's very normally, particularly as we age, but pigmentation of the skin can happen at any age. It can be genetics, it can be sort of if you're exposed to the sun a lot as well. Okay, that's the main things. So with each of these points, with the dryness, just this small little patch just here, are you applying anything on that to help try and moisturise it? And what are you using? Okay. And how often a day are you applying that? Just in the morning. Okay. And has that been working for you, or has it remained sort of pretty similar? Okay. No problem. Now, when it comes to some of the spots, what are you applying on them? Okay. Yes, sometimes if we don't properly clean our faces, particularly after things like exercise, it can just be a build-up of sweat. It gets into the pores, starts to cause that bacteria, and it comes out in spots. So, okay, so we think we may have a source for it. Okay, that's fine. So at the moment, just a bit of tea tree oil. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with tea tree oil. I actually love using it myself. Obviously it's a very natural product, but when we're trying to really help to heal, we want to be using something a little bit more as well, just to encourage them to go down. Tea tree oil is fantastic for being antibacterial, really just helping to shrink that sort of size as well, because it's quite astringent. But I think we might want to be using something with a benzoyl peroxide in, just to help reduce a little bit more. You'll also find it begins to lighten the area as well. Okay, fantastic. Now, what else did we have? We discussed the puffiness, the pigmentation. Okay, are you applying anything at all to help with that? That's fine. There's definitely things we can do to help with that. Lovely. Now, in terms of your daily skincare routine at the moment, could you just talk me through that? Okay. And that's it? Okay. And do you do anything in the evening at all? Lovely. Well, what I'm going to do now, I'll come with some recommendations, obviously, of how we can tackle some of those points. But what I'd like you to do is just talk you through for a second about face mapping. Let me organise myself with my papers. Let's put that there. Okay. So we've got one here. Put that there. Have you ever heard of Chinese face mapping? No? Okay, well this is going to be quite exciting, that I feel, because it's something very, very interesting. So this has obviously come from Chinese medicine, and in a nutshell, they have divided the face into certain areas. Okay, so as you can see, we have different areas mapped out in numbers, starting with 1 and 3 on the forehead, 2 in between the brows, 6 and 8 around the eyes, 5 and 9 the cheeks, 10 and 4 the ears, 7 the nose, 12A the mouth, and 12 the chin. And either side of the chin we have 13 and 11, and the neck 14. And by zoning these areas and breaking down what may be going on with those particular areas, we can start to just analyse those different zones. So, with that in mind, so each zone, as I said, relates to a different thing of what's going on. So with the forehead zone, that relates to the bladder and the digestive system. So if you tend to get breakouts in this zone, it may be because your current eating is maybe a little bit fatty, maybe you're having lots of takeaways, not getting the proper nutrients and not drinking enough water. So you don't have sort of any spots in this area, but there's a little bit of dryness as well up there. So I would say to definitely increase your water intake. Yeah, you'll notice a difference. Now, in between the brows, okay, so just this area here, that's to do with your liver. So I don't know if you consume alcohol or not. Okay, so typically if you are a heavy alcohol consumer, you'll tend to notice this area becomes quite congested, maybe a little bit red. There's no problem with that area on you, but just something to watch out for. Now the ears, interestingly, actually relate to the kidneys. They do indeed. So if you notice, again, these areas become a little bit red, that's actually to do with water again. So you know how everybody hypes on about you really need to drink water. You genuinely will notice a difference with your face. So I know lots of people say no matter how much water I drink, my skin doesn't improve, my acne doesn't improve, and lots of times, there can be something else going on that can be causing these, deeper rooted skincare issues. But generally for your health, it's great to be drinking water. So you should start to notice a general improvement in the skin. Okay, now on the cheeks, this is to do with the respiratory system. So when I feel a little bit run down, and you mentioned as well that you'd sort of had a little bit of hay fever, cold, that sort of thing. Typically, when something affects our sort of lungs and our chest, we'll notice potentially breakouts and things going on in our cheek zone. So, interestingly, you've said about, exercise, you think it's caused by sweat. I would also be tempted to say that what we're seeing here in terms of some spots and here with the dryness could actually be related to your chest and feeling a little bit run down. Yeah, I know the things you learn. Exactly. Now, if you have a little bit of a red nose, you'll often notice this in more sort of overweight older men. Typically those who will drink quite a lot as well. I often see people with quite red noses, and that is actually relating to blood pressure. So leading a healthier lifestyle, cutting back on the drinking, the fatty food, drinking more water, things like that, you'll start to see a reduction in the redness of the nose. But yours is fine, yours is all good. Now, the jawline, so zones 13 and 11. This typically affects women more. So this is more to do with hormones, ovaries and things like that. So if we go back to our picture here, we can see that with these zones, and really I'd say zone 12 as well, to be honest, all of these zones here do affect women with hormones. So if you have a bit of an imbalance, perhaps it's the time of the month, or you've got a fluctuations, changes in birth control, anything like that, you'll notice a bit of a change here, okay? But you haven't got anything in this zone here. And then we've also got in the chin zone, this is relating to the small intestine. It is indeed. So this relates again to more to do with your diet and things like that. So there are no concerns there. But the neck relates to your adrenals. So if you notice a reddening in the neck, it can often be to do with stress. It can. A good example of this is sometimes I've noticed actually watching some people on television, maybe some reality shows. Often when people are a little bit stressed or having an argument, you'll notice the reddening of sort of the neck and chest area. And of course, not everyone experiences it, but sometimes these things are good to look out for. I know, so it's very interesting. You're very welcome as well to take this away with you, but it is quite fascinating when we do start to look at these different zones. So the main problems you're having at the moment, I would say, are actually within zones 5 and 9, and we just got a little bit of pigmentation, but I wouldn't really say that's related to that. Okay, let's pop that back. So what I'd like to do now is I'd actually like to do a little bit of facial measuring. Sometimes when we're looking at the face and we see any signs of swelling or puffiness, it's good to just do a little bit of measuring just so we can keep track. Also, the little patches of pigmentation, it's good to take a little bit of a measure. It's the same with things like moles as well. It can be good just to get a little bit of an idea. So I'm going to put my gloves back on. Oh yes, please have some water. Have some water. It's quite warm in here today, isn't it? I know. Well, I should say warm outside. Absolutely. Okay. So let me just get my little notepad back and ready. Multitasking. Okay, so we're going to be using millimetres and centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure across your face, okay? Lovely. Lovely. I'm just going to measure the cheeks, okay? Or was that you or me? I don't know. Honestly, all the tummy rumbles. That's fine. There we go. Lovely. I'm just going to measure this cheek, okay? Fantastic. Do you know what I find funny about when your stomach rumbles? Often it's a sign that you're hungry, need food, but sometimes when you've eaten quite a lot as well, you wonder why it's rumbling. I know, it often happens to me actually when I drink quite a lot of water. See, that's the downside. No, it's just me. Okay, so lovely. Great. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of a measure of those couple of little patches of pigmentation, okay? So we've just got a little bit up here. Okay. Got a little bit just here. Now, the sizes of the patches of pigmentation is very normal. Often people can actually have pigmentation that spans quite large areas. Typically for that we'd use something like laser light treatment. It's really effective, particularly amber LED light is very effective for areas maybe caused by sun damage. Can be very good. Red light therapy is very good for stimulating the new sort of cell turnover, collagen stimulation. So it can be good to encourage sort of new growth. Things like the blue light is very good for hormonal breakouts and things like that. But I would say what we're experiencing here is not hormonal. There's no signs of that anywhere else. And the pigmentation I don't think is big enough necessarily to warrant the light use. Absolutely, you can get lots of very effective at home LED masks. Obviously we do have salon professional ones here, or clinic professional ones I should say, but in a beauty salon you'll get very high quality ones, as well as dermatology clinics, so it's completely up to you, but you can get some very effective ones at home as well. That might set you back a little bit, but the investment can be worth it. But I would say just do your research. I don't like to recommend particular ones, but just have a look, and if that is something you'd like to try, perhaps give it a go. Okay. Fantastic. Right, so we've noted that down. I'm just going to measure just around the jawline, okay, where we saw a little bit of the puffiness. Fantastic. Okay. And the main areas that I wanted to measure. I'll add that to your file as well. No cause for concern. No. What I'll do now is I'm just going to do one last sensitivity test, okay? I say the last like we've done a few, but I mean I'm just going to do one last thing before we can move on to talking about some products, okay? Fantastic. So what I have here is a little sensitivity brush, okay, and what I'm just going to do, you mentioned you'd been experiencing a little bit of sensitivity with the skin, so I'm just going to simply just go over the skin with this, and I just want you to let me know if there are any areas that you feel like it's sort of a little bit more sensitive on, okay? Fantastic. So we're going to start sort of at the top on the forehead, okay? Anything at all there? No? Okay. I'm going to come down the face. Anything there at all? No? Okay. Just round. Oh, just there. It's where you've got the little dryness. Okay. Just round there. Just a little bit there as well. Okay. Just round the jawline. Nothing there. Just going to go around the sort of mouth area and the chin. Anything there? No? Just lastly around here. Just a little bit there. A little bit there. Just going to go around your ears as well. This may be a little bit ticklish. Anything sort of uncomfortable there? No? What about around here? Anything uncomfortable in this here? No? Just anything at all? No? Just a final check. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Just note that down. So where you're experiencing the sensitivity is those cheek zones. It is. Have you had a lot of sun exposure lately? I mean, I know the weather's been quite nice, but have you sat in the sun and actually sunbathed? You have. Okay. And you've been applying an SPF? Yeah. How often are you reapplying that? Okay. Okay. Right. I'm going to just pop these gloves off. I'm done with these for the day. Now, let's move on to some products and things that may particularly help you. Alright, so first things first, I want to start with sun protection because I know you mentioned you are using an SPF, but I wanted to start with this one because it's one of my personal favourites. We spoke as well about ones that protect from different light. This actually does infrared A and blue light. This is a high protection 30 SPF. The UVA absorbance is 90%, and this does UVA, UVB and PA. And this is a moisturising anti-aging product, and this is really gorgeous. So I apply this every day religiously, and typically I would pop this on after I've used my cleanser, any sort of extra treatments I want to use, and then I'm going to go in with the SPF. Now, you can of course apply this actually on top of your moisturiser. Just for me, personal choice, I like to apply it straight away, particularly if I'm not wearing a foundation, which I don't wear. So this is just a really lovely one to use. So when it comes to how much you apply, a nice size blob. It's a good word, isn't it? Blob. And you can just rub it in, and as I begin to rub it in, I'll rub this in my hands. It's very good to do sun protection on your hands actually. You'll begin to see that there's no cast that's being left. So when we talk about a white cast on the skin, especially for darker skin tones, you don't want anything that's sort of really sitting on the skin. This is lovely and fresh. It's really nice. So if we just do a little test patch just on your hand. Okay, so it's really good actually to test products on your hand to see how they feel, see how it sinks in. See, it's just melted away. Alright, now the next thing I'd like to recommend is a nice sensitive moisturiser. Now this one is from La Roche-Posay, and this is their sensitive fluid moisturiser. So this is very, very soothing. It's almost like a sort of, obviously it's a fluid, but it's like a sort of, I don't know, it's just a very light. It's very, very light. It's not like a regular moisturiser. So as you'll see, this just glides over the skin. Really gorgeous, really gentle. and it really just provides that lovely moisture. So where you've got those areas of spots, what we actually want to do, people make the mistake of really drying out their skin, and instead you actually just want to make sure the skin is nice and soft and nourished and taken care of, and not stripped of everything, particularly if we're using maybe some, precise acne products that might be a bit drying. Okay, so let's give you a little bit of this on your hand. Lovely. It's lovely, isn't it? It doesn't have a scent. It's perfect if you are someone that suffers with, quite congested skin. It's very, very light. For me, I don't like to work with anything that is heavy. I don't like the feeling of things on my skin, so nice and fresh. Now, taking it back to basics, you did mention you use a cleanser. That's absolutely great. What I would recommend is trying something like the towels. You can get them online. They're fairly inexpensive. You can get big packs, small packs, and instead of using something like a towel where you can be transferring the dirt over and over again if you don't wash it after every use, something like the facial towels, they're a one-off use. They are biodegradable and recyclable, so they are sort of planet friendly, but it just ensures that you're only using them once and you're not transferring that dirt around. So that's really going to help with any sort of dirt that's left on the skin, any blocked pores, and it's going to make sure that you're just nice and fresh. Okay? But don't worry, I'm going to write all this down for you. I am. Now, the cleanse that you're using sounds absolutely fine. That is one that we do recommend, so that's not a problem. Sometimes people like to do a bit of a double cleanse. Yes, lots of popular things on social media. Sometimes people like to apply oils, creams, heavy moisturisers, all sorts of things. I think when you've got a little bit of a problem with your skin, take things back to basics. Use a nice cleanser, good SPF, a nice light moisturiser, and you're good to go. When it comes to treatment times, I like to think actually the evening is a good time to apply something, because you're getting that whole overnight time that your skin is sort of untouched, you haven't got any pollutants from the air, and it can just recover. So we've got a couple of bits of pigmentation. So for this, what we want to do is use just a nice simple AHA or PHA. So something like this, and this is actually a very simple one from Neutrogena. So this is a daily serum, and what I really like to do here is, obviously we have a lot of expensive dermatology products in, but when we're talking about everyday skincare use and people just starting out, to try and help skincare issues, I think there's no reason why a lot of these ones that you can get in, a general store can't be effective. So I think this one's really good. This really helps with pigmentation because it's got a bit of salicylic acid in. Okay, now it sounds a bit scary, and you can actually use this a couple of times a day, but build up. So, maybe just once a day or once every other day to start with. This is a nice, light, clear gel formula. And this is really helpful to help with things like post-acne scarring, scarring in general, but also those areas of pigmentation which can be left from spots or kind of just appeared from sun damage. Okay? Wonderful. I feel like I'm throwing a lot at you, but you're doing really well. Lastly, or second to last, I mentioned benzoyl peroxide earlier. So this is the 5% gel from Acnicide. This is a really great product that you can buy in store. And this is clinically proven to kill up to 95% of spot-causing bacteria. So this is really great. It is quite drying, so do not apply this all over the face. Apply this to one spot. You could even use something like a little cotton bud to make sure you don't spread it around. And I just apply this directly onto the spots. Now I have a few of these here. I've got a brand new one actually, so I can actually give you one of these. No, included in your consultation price. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so I'll give you one of those. Okay, so what you want to do is, as I say, apply that just directly to those spots. Now you can wear this under makeup if you're careful, but typically I'd advise applying it at night time. Just be a bit careful of your pillow, okay? Because as with anything with benzoyl peroxide in, peroxide, as we know, lightens hair as well. It is going to sort of lighten any fabric, so just make sure that it's dry at least before you lay down, or just apply a little towel. Okay, wonderful. And you should start to see an improvement in a few days. Fantastic. Now lastly, got a little bit of darkening just under the eyes. Very standard. I have it myself. The best thing for that, you can either use something very cold from the fridge, just to sort of gently roll out under the eye to help with puffiness. But when it comes to dark circles, it can be hereditary. But I'd recommend something like a caffeine solution. So this is from The Ordinary. Again, a very affordable product. I really love these. And this helps with dark circles and puffiness. You simply take a little pipette, pop it to the eye area. I sometimes like to do a little sort of 3 dot and just lightly tap it in. The area around your eye and all around here is extremely delicate. So when you're applying anything to the eye area, we want to make sure that we're not rubbing, scraping, scratching the eye, anything. It's just a very delicate motion. Using something like that, you don't have to use it, but it will begin to help with some of the darkening of the circles. Anything that contains vitamin C is also very good. Okay? I know, I feel like you've had a whole sort of overhaul. I do. I'm pleased. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a sort of 3-week plan for you. What that should begin to do is help with some of the dryness, help with a few of those spots. The things like the pigmentation can take a lot longer to gradually fade, so we're not going to see a huge change in the 3 weeks, but we might see a slight improvement. Okay? Now, during this time of using new products, your skin can experience something called purging, but we're not using anything that's particularly strong, anything that's very offensive to the skin or heavy. But if you do experience any sort of signs of redness, itchiness, anything that's very uncomfortable, more spots appearing, just pull back, apply a little bit less, or, take a break for a couple of days and then gradually come back to it. Okay? It's all about finding that balance. Wonderful. And I'll send that all to you, okay? And then on the 4th week, I'd love you to come back in and we'll do a review and see how the skin has improved. Fantastic. Obviously, all the product recommendations today are just recommendations. You can go and find similar ones, that's fine. Everything mentioned here is, within a sort of, I would say, a fairly normal budget for skincare. It's not things that are hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds, so hopefully there are some things there that can work for you. Okay, fantastic. Oh, it's been so lovely, it has, to meet you. Have you got many plans for the rest of the day? Oh, wonderful. A nice relaxing day. Definitely. Well, I tell you what, I will walk you out. Yes, because that snack is calling me. Absolutely. But this has been a pleasure. Would you like to take with you, actually, I've got another copy of the face mapping details. Yeah? Of course, I'll walk you out. Fantastic.